Now, the general perception in regards to inflation is that it's bad for everyone. No one benefits from inflation. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not true, and that in reality, the rich, the mega rich, the 1% do benefit from inflation. But in order to do so, we need to define what it means to be rich. You are not rich if you have $1,000 trillion and everybody else has $1,000 trillion. No, being rich is really a measurement of the gap between the people who have and the people who doesn't have. So if the gap increases, you become richer. Now, another defining feature of being rich is that you're not dependent on your salary to make ends meet. No, instead, you have your money tied up in real assets, in real estate, in equities, in these kinds of things. You're not carrying around money like Uncle Max Scrooge. That's not a real picture of what the rich do. So what's happening in an inflationary environment is that those who are dependent on their money to make ends meet, their money becomes less valuable. But inflation is also the growth in money supply. So when more money is splashing around, but the assets remain the same, the assets increase in price. So in an inflationary environment, the gap increases and the rich become richer. Now, there are some caveats to this, because in periods where there has been like shock inflation, that can actually make the gap decrease if there is huge force in especially stock market values from this shock. But that is not the picture that we have seen for the last 30 years. No, instead we have seen a steady, slow rise in inflation that is higher than the rise in wages. And in this environment, the rich actually get richer from inflation, because every time some inflation happens, the poor get poorer, and it's not such a crazy amount radical inflation that there's a huge drop in asset values. No, it's not happening. And generally, when there is inflation, things like real estate, farmland, commodities increase in value because we really need them, and these are the things that the rich own. Now, this might be logically true, but if you look throughout the historical record, you can also see that this is in fact historically true also. Look at which American presidents have tried to balance the budget. The only one who has done so since Lyndon B. Johnson is Bill Clinton. And what happened to Bill Clinton? He started balancing the budget and they made a big scandal that he slept with his secretary. They made it a huge thing, really criticizing him, putting dirt on his name and reputation for sleeping with his secretary. That's not really a bad thing to do. And since then, who else has tried to cut government spending and balance the budget? Elon Musk tried. And what happened to him? He became pushed out of politics. He didn't get to do anything, because every dollar in debt that is repaid is giving purchasing power back to regular people. It creates deflation. And when there is deflation, those who are dependent on their salary to make ends meet, they become richer. And those who are not dependent on their salary to make ends meet, but who have their money tied up in assets, they become poorer. So the incentive is not there for governments to decrease inflation, to restrain from having large deficits in their budgets. No, the incentive is there for a continuous stream of money being added into the economy, because this helps the rich people. And it is also the stated goal of, for example, the World Economic Forum to have an assetless society where some few people will own everything and you will just lease it from them. You don't need to own your own phone. You will lease it from them. And having such an inflationary environment where in the end your money will be completely worthless is a way on that route towards the assetless society where control is not measured in money, it's measured in influence, in power. And this is what the elite want. And that is why we have loads of inflation. So thanks for watching.